Hi guys, welcome to My Sew Bliss. Today I'm excited to be showing you another sewing tutorial. I'm going to be showing you how to make this darling romper, but in the back it has this nice little opening. So it's with elastic, the elastic pants, but then you can change the baby that way. There's no snaps, no zipper, no buttons, nothing. Just the elastic in the back. There are a bunch of different options with this pattern, which I'll put a link for down below. This is the Snuggle Bug Romper from Peekaboo Patterns. I love their kids patterns. Their baby patterns are just so well done, so cute, so many options and versatility, and so practical. Like, I feel like this is perfect for new moms or any mom just in the changing the diaper stage, where you don't have to deal with the snaps, you don't have to deal with even a zipper. You just pull it and it's on and off kind of thing. So super easy in and out. It's honestly what I love. I've made it for 3 baby showers so far, and I'm going to one tonight. So I just made this one and made this tutorial in about 2 hours, and it's a quick sew. I think if I wasn't filming, it would have been like maybe an hour and a half. Maybe, I mean, and that's with like cutting it out and stuff. So really quick, easy, turns out super cute. Again, I'll put a link down below for it. I used a sewing machine and a serger. If you don't have a serger, that's okay. You can still use your sewing machine. You just want to make sure to use a stretch stitch, so that way when you're stretching the fabric to put baby in, those threads don't pop. That's what makes it possible to wear knit clothing. Another thing, make sure you're using a stretch needle. That's really important when you're sewing with stretchy fabric. It's going to make or break your project and make or break how frustrating that project is as well. So keep those 2 tips in mind. And other than the pattern and your fabric, you're also going to need some elastic and your basic sewing supplies. So let's get started. After you have your pattern pieces cut out, we're then going to take the lower back piece and the upper back piece. So it should be like a top and some pants. And I'm going to fold both of them. First, I'm going to start with the top piece. I'm going to fold it wrong sides together up, that end piece, about 3/4 of an inch. And if you need to, you can iron that down. If your fabric doesn't need ironing, you don't have to iron it down. But we're going to stitch that in place. We're pretty much hemming it so that it looks nice and is ready to go. And then for the top, for the pants part, we're going to take the top part, fold that over 3/4 of an inch, and stitch that down so that we can create a casing for the elastic to go in. So both are being folded down at 3/4 of an inch and being sewn in place. So I'm going to go over to my sewing machine. I'll probably just do a regular zigzag stitch across here. I feel like that works best, especially with knits and kids knits. And same thing on here, a zigzag stitch across at 3/4 of an inch. Here I have them sewn. You can see there's a little bit of wonkiness in here, and especially when you're sewing with knits and stretchy fabrics, this is going to happen a little bit. But if you press it and steam it, make sure your fabric can take it and don't do too high of a heat. But if your fabric can take it, then definitely press it and that will go away and it'll look nice. So I'm not going to worry about that. I think it's going to totally work fine and be great. So now I'm going to take my elastic piece, and I just like to take a safety pin and put it on the end of it. I know there's tools that you can actually do this with, but safety pin has always worked great for me. And I'm going to thread it through the pants. Just make sure that you don't just keep threading it through. You actually catch this end right here. And one thing that I like to do is just like thread it through just enough that it's sitting there on that end. And then I'm just going to go over to, oh, see, I might have done it too much. It's such a short piece that it's so easy to do this. Okay, I think it's right. Yep, there it is. Maybe. Okay, I'm going to pull it out just a little bit. Okay, so if I just have a little, a little bit sticking out, oh my gosh, I'm going to keep doing this. And then I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine and just stitch along the edge right here to hold it in place. And then I'll pull the rest of it through. Okay, there we go. We're just going to leave it like that. So I'm going to go and just stitch this right here to hold it in place. And then I'll pull this through and stitch it on this side as well to hold it in place. And that's just going to make sure so it doesn't fall out until we actually sew it down. So here you can see I pulled it through. I got that cute little scrunch. Oh, I love it. I don't know why. Kids fabric and kids clothing, so cute, so little. So you can see I still have this safety pin on here, so I just trim the extra elastic and it's perfect. Okay, so now we can take the back shirt and the pants and we're gonna layer them so that they match up with our nice little notches here. And you're gonna have to stretch this to fit it, but it's gonna cinch right here. So I'm just gonna baste the side seams. Again, kind of like what we just did with the elastic. I'm just gonna baste the pants and the top together. Let me lay it out for you. Just right along here. I'm gonna do it on this side and on this side inside the seam allowance so that it's ready for us to attach everything else. Here's that back piece. Gonna like curve a little bit with that elastic in there, but looking good. I love it. It's gonna make it so nice and easy for mom to get baby in and out of. So now we're gonna take our front piece, and I'm just doing the solid piece. If you're interested in another tutorial with the placket part and that all different part, let me know in the comments and maybe I could do that video too. I did do one of those for a baby shower and it turned out so cute. So I definitely can do it. But today I'm just doing a solid one. I just really like the look of it in this cute stripe. And then with this teal as the cuffs. Oh, so cute. So back to the project. I'm laying them right sides together, the front and the back piece, right sides together, lining up my shoulder seams. And then I'm going to stitch with, now I'm going to use a serger. If you don't have a serger, keep using a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. But I'm going to stitch across those shoulder seams, get those ready to do our neckband. With the shoulder seams done, I'm going to set that to the side and grab my neckband piece. And I'm going to put those right sides together long ways. And I'm just going to go and sew along this really short edge. And again, make sure you're using a stretch stitch so that the threads will stretch when this stretches over the baby's head. After you have your neckband sewn on that short edge, I'm going to take it, open it up, and fold it in half. And if you need to get some pins for this part, sometimes that helps a little bit to hold this ribbed piece in place. It can want to come undone. So I'm just folding it in half like a hot dog. And now we're going to pin it. First, what I want to do though is I like to divide it up into fourths, and then it's going to be evenly distributed into our neckline here. So I'm going to take just a couple pins, and especially even if you don't do it in fourths and you just do it in half, I feel like that helps. So I found that center mark is my seam, and then the center back is my seam, center front I just found. And then again, if you want to, but actually the shoulder, like this is going to be different. So let's just do, I'm just going to divide it in half for this one and see how that goes. It's such a small space that I think it'll be fine. We're going to be pinning right sides together. So I'm going to open up this cute little romper. Oop, I'm going to fling all my pins away. Okay, I'm going to lay it flat. Do it however you need to make sense. But I like my center back. Center back is right here. Pin that. I'm going to put my seam on my center back. I just prefer that method. And pin that in place. And then center front, I'm going to pin this other seam. And like I said, if you want to pin more, you can. But this will stretch. This neckband stretches to fit in here as you sew. Now, one thing that I kept forgetting in the other baby showers, in the other baby shower gifts, was these little tags. I sewed it in one of them at the very end, and I was like, oh, it kind of looks wonky because it wasn't my best. It wasn't my best work. So I'm trying to figure out how. I think I just do it like that. But then if I have a serger, I can't do it. So maybe you guys are gonna hear all my thoughts. Okay, so I think I'm gonna sew it first and then tuck it in. I mean, if I was really smart about it, I would just do it like this. No, not like that. Like, okay, so if you have a tag, put the tag in as well. But now we're gonna take it over, like I said, to the sewing machine first and stretch as you sew. Stretch the neckband as you sew, not the actual body. Okay, I ended up serging it first because the tag thing was like tripping me up. I don't even know why, but it was. So I just serged it, and then I did a zigzag stitch over the top, and it's kind of the same color as the outfit, so I think it's fine. Hopefully it's fine. I think it looks fine. Again, if it's wavy, ironing, steaming is going to be a friend of yours and looks so nice. My only worry when I serge is that I'm going to cut off too much of the neckband, and then it's going to like look lopsided because I've done that before. So if you have a serger, just make sure you're not cutting off too much. I think I did pretty good this time. I think I kept the seam allowance pretty even all the way around, so proud of myself there. Now we are ready. We're going to set our sleeve. Nope, we're not going to set our sleeves in. We're actually going to do the gusset, which can look tricky, but it's not too bad. So our gusset is this piece. I accidentally cut my pattern paper, but we're just taking it right sides together. There's going to be 4 points on this. So I'm taking the top point, which actually I wasn't even holding. I'm taking this top point that has a notch in it, and I'm going to place it right sides together with the front of the outfit, the front of the romper, and the notch is like huge, so I'm just going to slide it down to match it up. If you want to pin it in place, that's great too, because then you're going to take this other point, so it kind of looks like a lemon. You're going to take the points of the lemon, and they're going to come down, and that's what you're going to stitch straight up to that point and then back down to this point. So kind of gets a little weird, a little wonky, but when you like straighten the legs out like this, it works. And then you have this nice gusset that you've put in, and the baby has room to breathe for that diaper. So I usually just pin those two, and then as I take this one out, I'm going to stretch this. Well, I'm not going to stretch it. I'm just going to pull it lightly without stretching it to then line up right here. So it'll look something like that when we're all done. So I'm going to take this over to the serger. I'm just going to serge it in place, and then we can set in our sleeves. I wanted to give you a closer look of what that looks like once it's sewn in. So here it is, the front piece. Here's the gusset. And I've just done, like I said, the front, but it lays pretty nicely. You shouldn't really have any puckering. I did stretch it a little bit. I did find myself stretching it, but if you just make sure to keep the edges lined up of the gusset and the pant leg, it sews in really nicely. You just want to make sure like you don't get any tucks or folds, or you're not accidentally cutting the pant leg. So just take it slow, especially if you're on a serger, but you can totally do it and make it look so nice. So now we're ready to do our sleeves. Now you might be adding a little flutter to yours. I am not. Like I said, I'm making this pretty basic. All the ones that I've made are either for a boy or we don't know the gender of the baby, so I didn't want to add flutters to it, so I'm not adding flutters, but you will add your flutters and then add your sleeves together at this step. But we're just going to go straight to our sleeves. So I'm laying mine open. My back piece is over here, my front piece is over here. It doesn't really matter back and front on this. We just want to know the center and the edges. So here I have my sleeve piece, and I'm going to match up the top notch with my sleeve seam. I lost all my pins. Here we go, I got two. Okay, so I'm just gonna pin that notch in place, and then I really just pin like two things on this, because then I pin the side seams together. So I bring it over, pin that like it's like a corner, and then this sleeve part right here, I'm just gonna ease it in as I'm stitching, and do the same. Once I get past this point, I'm gonna pull this over so that the edge lines up, that corner right there, notch that in place, and then stretch it and sew it in place. So easy. This is why I love sewing with knits. It's like beautiful. It just meshes together and melds together, and it's yummy. Love it. So I'm gonna take it over to my serger and sew this one in. I'll come show you when I'm done to give you a closer look at it. Here's a look at that sleeve sewn in, and then if I flip it, so we did right sides together. It looks kind of wonky, but then you have this, it still looks kind of wonky. But if you pick it up by the shoulder seams and then lay it flat, you have your little romper. And now it's perfect and ready for us to do our side seams. And the nice thing about this is your side seams, you're gonna do from the arms down to the legs. So you're gonna do all of it in one go. You just have to do both sides. And we're gonna put them right sides together, so make sure you're doing it right sides together. We don't want those seams on the outside, unless you want them on the outside, and that's fine. That could be the look you're going for. So I'm just gonna line it up, right sides together. You can pin this or not, and line up the raw edge. Here's my arm. I'm gonna pull this side out. The only thing you want to also make sure of is that you're catching this pant shirt combo that we basted, and then that's laying flat. I've had it where it's like puckering over here a little bit. We don't really want that. We want it to lay nice and flat, so just keep that in mind. Kind of watch it when you're sewing that section. And then I just continue down to the end of the leg. So like I said, I'm starting at the top of the arm, going down to the armpit, and down the rest of the way to the end of the leg. And I'm going to do that on both sides. We've got the side seams done. Now we need to finish off this inner seam and gusset area, which pretty simple and easy as well. We're going to keep it right sides together. And again, that notch on the gusset, we're going to line that up with the center of that leg seam, just that point. Pin that in place, and then the gusset will come down just like it did before, but then we'll continue on with the rest of the leg seam. So when I go to sew this, I'm going to start at the end of this leg seam and then go up, pull this. I'm going to make sure this point right here, see how where it attaches the gusset to the leg, I'm going to make sure that's pulled over so there's no hole that's going to be created. And if you want to pin that part in place, that might be a good spot to do that. And then we'll sew it up and around, stretching the gusset to fit in if needed, and then back down the other side of the leg. So it's putting the leg in, the inner leg in at the same time as the gusset piece. So just take it slow. Like I said, don't catch any of the extra fabric. As long as you maneuver it a little bit, it's pretty simple and easy. You get those serger threads out of here, but I'm going to go ahead and sew that next. Here's a look at that gusset after I sewed that in. So it should just look like this, kind of folded in half. Looks like a taco. Looks great. If you want to flip it right sides out, looks even cuter. And all we have left is our sleeve and leg cuffs. I'm just doing, again, I'm doing the most basic. I'm doing standard. This is a 12-month size, so I just figured that would look best. And the way I'm going to show you that I do this is how I do it for all 4 pieces. So it doesn't matter if it's the leg or the arm cuff piece. So I'll show you I just take, well, maybe if I can pick it up. Okay, here's one of my arm pieces. I'm going to take it, and similar to how we did the neckband, put it right sides together, and I'm going to sew down this shorter edge right along here. So I'm going to do that. I'm probably going to do it to all 4 of my pieces first, and then come back and show you how we put it on to the actual romper. Now with that cuff sewn, I'm going to fold it wrong sides together just in half so that the wrong sides are on the inside and right sides are on both this part and right here, because now we're going to put it on to the actual arm, and this is also going to be right sides together, so just make sure you think about that. The cuff, I like to have the outfit right sides out and then put the cuff over the top, and then I line up my seam allowances that I have. So I have the one we just sewed and then the arm sleeve allowance, and that's where I'm going to start sewing. And I don't even pin it because it's so small, especially if you're doing even a smaller size, but I just ease on right here, stitch around in the round just like this. So my presser foot will go right along here, and then I'll ease off the end. And I'm going to show you how I finish off my serger tails as well, because I feel like that's really important on baby clothes, especially because you don't want to get any extra strings twisted around their little fingers or their feet or something. That would be really bad. So I'm going to sew that, and then I will show you how I finish that off. When you go to finish off any serged edge that's not going to be serged over again or stitched over again, like on this cuff, so everything on this is done, but I have this tail right here that I could just cut off, but then I might have more unraveling threads. So what I like to do is I just like to make it a couple inches long or short if you need to cut it and trim it down. And then I take the threads apart, and usually I just use either a pair of scissors or a needle. I'm pretty sure there's a hack to this, but I don't actually know it. But I just take them apart, and usually it's not like too hard. Okay. And then I take, there's 4 strands, so I take 2 in each hand, if I can find the other one, and I just tie a knot. And I do usually a double knot right to the stitching, so I just pull it tight so it's right against that stitching, and that's going to make sure that these serger threads don't unravel anymore. And then I cut close to the knot. Don't cut your knot, we want to keep it. But now that cuff is finished, those stitches are going to stay in place. There won't be more unraveling. Oh no, I serged over a tail, so you can just cut that. But now that cuff is finished, so I'm going to finish all of mine off by doing that. All right guys, once you are done tying off your serger threads, or just trimming your threads if you didn't use a serger, you are all done with your romper. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I'm obsessed with these rompers. I think they're so darling, and I think they would be so nice for a mom for easy changing. I hate things that have snaps. I mean, like, snaps or buttons, like, why? Unless they're just for decoration, which I love the one that has the placket down the front if you're just using it for decoration. I did one where it was that, and then you still had the opening in the back, so you could just use that to change the diaper. And I just thought that's genius and super cute, super snuggly. But I really love how this turned out. I hope you guys did too. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe so that you can see more sewing tutorials. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!